Good evening, guys. How's everyone going? I missed my live on Monday because I wasn't feeling the best, but I'm back today and I'm going to be making donut protein balls, which is really exciting. They are super delicious. I feel like the camera looks a bit dirty. I feel like I just want to clean that. Oh, that looks better. Okay. So we are going to be making donut protein balls with my favorite protein, the vegan one. You can also use whey protein for this if you need to. However, this one probably works a bit better with the recipe as we are going to be baking it a little bit. So let's get started. What you need for this recipe is protein of your choice. Go for vegan. This one is like out of all the Body Science range, I would suggest that you use the vanilla vegan one. If you want to use the whey protein, that's totally fine. You can do that too. Just be mindful that it will change the recipe and it seems to make the recipe a lot wetter if you are using the whey protein. You will have to add more dry ingredients if you do that. So you'll also need almonds as well. And what we're going to do is we are going to, we're going to blend up the ingredients. Basically, if you have a blender, that is fantastic. If you don't have a blender, you need to buy ground almonds. But I have a blender, so that's fine. So, into a NutriBullet, we go with the almonds. Oh, I always spill stuff on here. Last week I smashed a bowl. So, in with the almonds. The next ingredient in here is desiccated coconut. This recipe seriously takes like 20 minutes. It won't take you very long to do it at all. And it's very easy and yummy. You can also, in the recipe, I've previously like weighed all the ingredients. I'm just making this by eye at the moment because I've made it so many times. In with the coconut. And then I'm actually going to put a few oats in mine today. The recipe doesn't have oats in it. However, I like oats in mine. So I'm just going to add some oats. Half a cup. And then your cinnamon. Use your cinnamon to taste. So I love cinnamon. I think I have maybe 3 tablespoons of cinnamon in there. But go for it. If you want to put a lot, that's totally fine. Now, what we are going to do is put the lid on and then we're just going to blitz it for seriously like 30 seconds. It will all come together and then we can tip it into the bowl with the protein powder. So, we've just blitzed that for 30 seconds. We're going to pop it into the bowl now, along with 3 scoops of protein powder. There's no scoop in this protein powder, but each serving is 45 grams. So 45 times 3. Can't say I can work that maths out off the top of my head. And we're just going to mix it in. Use the scales to weigh this, or grab yourself your scoop and put your own scoop in here, but 45 grams is perfect. Yes, make this recipe, you'll absolutely love it. It is so delicious. And I mean, if you feel like eating a donut, eat a donut obviously, but this is a very great alternative if you are someone that is being a bit more mindful of what you're eating. All right, so basically what we're doing here is we're creating a dry mix. And with this dry mix, what we're going to do is we are going to toast it. Lastly, we need to put in stevia. If you, sorry, not stevia, maple syrup. Put in the maple syrup. My 15-year-old would love something easy. This is really easy for her to make. you should have all these ingredients in your cupboard, and you can play around with the recipe. We're going to add the maple syrup in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make this into a crumb. I will show you. So, to make life easier, I've pre-baked it to show you exactly how this looks. So what you're going to do is make this mix. Chia tastes any good in this? Yes, if you want to put chia seeds in it, that's totally fine. You just need to blend it more. That would be better. NRL son. Oh yeah, he would be able to make this really easily. So what we're doing here is we're making sort of a crumb, and this, what we're going to do is toast it. So I have the oven preheating. The oven is on 180 degrees, and we're going to toast it for about 12 minutes. This gives it the donut. You know when you eat a donut and it's hot and it's obviously being cooked, this gives it that sort of flavor, the toastiness. So spread it out evenly onto a tray. And like, you're going to spread this mix out evenly onto a tray, and you're going to bake it. So what I've done, I've already made this so I can show you. It basically makes like a crumb, and you're just toasting it. Now the reason you're doing that is because you want to get that toasty flavor. 12 minutes in the oven, and I've already done that, so I can go ahead and show you exactly what the balls will look like. So put that to the side, and I'm going to pop the other stuff into the oven just so I can make a lot of it all at once. Now, if you have that blender handy, again, what you will do now is pop the ingredients back into the blender. So all that crumb that you just made, I've made some already, so I can finish showing you. You're going to pop back in the blender, and you're going to blitz it. If you don't have a blender, you can just crush it by hand. Super easy. This is just very handy. So back on with the lid, and we're going to blitz this again for 30 seconds. Make sure you're cleaning up all your mess as you go. And just like that, we have the crumb. Now you're going to pour it into the bowl. Pour it into the bowl, and it gives it that toasty flavor. Now make sure you give it a good mix. If you need to, pop your hands in there. And this is how we're going to make the protein balls. Now, in this recipe, the recipe says water as needed. So depending on how long you cook the crumb for, or how long like you leave it to sit, will depend on how much water you need, because obviously everyone's recipe will be slightly different, and you might need to add a bit more water, or you might need to add a bit less water. So I've got 1 cup at a time. You're only going to add like a little bit at a time, and you're also going to add the butter as well. I mean the almond butter. So you've got all your crumb ready to go. What we are going to do is add 1 cup of almond butter. Oh, I feel like I could get a bigger bowl for this, to be honest. That might be a bit better. Get a bigger bowl. So, add your 1 cup of almond butter. If you don't want to use almond butter, peanut butter is completely fine. I just like that almond butter doesn't really taste like much. Like, when you're making this, you really want it to taste like a donut protein ball. So this is great. Now, use your hands, it's way easier. I know some people are gonna say I shouldn't use my hands, but it's literally just me eating it. If you're making these for other people, obviously wear gloves, but it is just for me. So what you wanna do is mix that almond butter in really well. You've added the maple syrup before, which is gonna give it its sweetness. You can add more sweetener if you want to, but honestly, it won't need it because you are gonna dust the whole ball in some sugar. So, as you can see, the mix is like sort of holding together quite well, but we want it to be a tiny bit wetter. The reason we want it to be a tiny bit wetter is because when it begins to set in the fridge, what's going to happen is it's going to get harder and harder. And you know when you eat protein balls and they're just like just not very nice in your mouth? That's what's going to happen. So a tiny, tiny splash of water and just give it a good mix. Instantly, it will become so much wetter and it will be ready to go. Now, once the mix is all together, you're going to give your hands a wash, and then we're going to begin to roll the balls, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the cinnamon sugar. So give your hands a wash. Make sure you clean up any mess as you go. Now, using that same bowl as you had before, you don't need to make extra mess. What you're going to do is put some stevia into the bowl. If you want to use normal sugar, that's totally fine. I just use stevia because it can keep the calories down for people that are tracking calories and macros. And then we add cinnamon. So this is a cinnamon sugar. As you can see, got a really delicious cinnamon sugar, and what we're going to do is begin to roll them. So set yourself up with a little tray. You're going to roll the ball, you're going to put the ball into the sugar, and then you're going to put it on a plate for the fridge. This recipe makes 12. If you want to make bigger ones, totally fine. Otherwise, this is this makes perfectly 12. All you're going to do is roll it into a ball. When your hands heat the ball, you will notice that it will get a glossy sort of sensation on the outside, and then that will help the cinnamon to stick and the stevia. And then there you have it. It's like a really easy cinnamon donut ball, I call them. They're one of my absolute favorite recipes. Perfect for an afternoon snack. They're healthy. You can easily keep them like as an afternoon treat for your kids if they are wanting something like, you know, if your kid wants a donut and you're not wanting them to go crazy and eat loads of donuts, this is perfect. Or just for anyone that is just a bit mindful of making their own treats and wanting to do that. So just roll away. I'll show you them in a minute. I'm just going to roll a couple more so I can show you them. And honestly, it tastes like a donut. It's fine. I checked it. I'm making a cake at the same time, and my family thinks it's burning. I mean, my friends. So, just like that. I will show you. I'll turn the camera around just really quickly and I'll show you exactly what they look like. But yeah, they kind of actually look like a real donut, even though they're not real. So this is them. I will quickly show you. They actually look like donuts, but they are made out of protein and they are really, really delicious. I hope you enjoyed the donut protein balls, guys. If you do take it, if you do make them, let me know, take a photo. I would love to see. Otherwise, I post loads of recipes over on my page at Jordan Hartley Health. Every second day, you can grab yourself a recipe. So that's it. They're really simple, and thank you for having me this evening, guys.